Welcome back to the Paranormal Girl podcast. I am your host, Kristen. Today we pick up right where we left off last week before going into depth with Sister Keeyah about some of the entities encountered while she lived in a demon house, and how those who investigate the paranormal might be consenting to attachments by negative entities, and what Father Plato recommends to those asking him for help in order to remove them. Please enjoy the second part of our conversation.
You know, that's an important point that you bring up. Doing the work that you do, it can be very dangerous, and these energies can be, looking for their escape route, real quick. Who am I going to
Oh,
go with?
Plato had a dog get thrown down the stairs before,
Oh,
a big German Shepherd,
It
because
didn't even touch the
the
floor.
demon was hiding and the dog ratted it out. So the demon picked it up and threw it down the stairs, and the poor dog peed itself and was whimpering. And I mean,
oh,
the
poor
dog
baby.
didn't die or anything like that, but I mean, they do go after animals. And when I was living in an infested house, I had cats, and they would howl this just horrible howl,
Yeah.
and nothing like you'd ever heard them do before. And they'd be looking at something and just
Yeah.
constantly.
They're so
And
sensitive to those
they are
Mm-hmm.
kinds
so
of
sensitive.
energies.
Like,
Yeah.
I would say that cats are half in this world and half out of this world, that they kind of can cross between the two.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, my cats, they did get attacked, and I was livid, and I made the mistake of saying, like, leave my cats alone, like, don't touch them, they're off limits or whatever. So whatever it was basically grabbed my insides. Like, my weak point is my stomach, and they know that. And it was like I doubled over. It was so bad, but it left the cats alone after that.
Have either of you ever brought anything home with you? Has it ever affected
Oh
your
yeah.
family?
Oh yeah, it's like going to a party. You always go home with a loot bag. It's like you always welcome to the
Yeah,
party.
a
Here's your
really
loot bag.
crappy loot bag with like one of those horns that doesn't whistle, and those peanut butter kisses and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, there's
So
nothing good in the
so
bag.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, leftovers. No, but we do a lot of protection before we go, but we also have to do a lot of protection when we get home, and we do a lot of salt baths, which is what I've done. I kind of made this up, where run a regular bath, and add exorcism salt, holy oil, holy water, and if you lie in it and sort of submerge yourself in the tub for 15, 20 minutes, the water will actually turn dark, gray, or black, and that the attachments come right off you, and then you shower. So we encourage a lot of people to do these salt baths. And it seems to work. But anything that you feel comfortable doing will help. But you should always cleanse yourself, because we yeah, it's not a clean job. I mean, people think, oh, I'm a demonologist, I'm an exorcist, I'm this and that. They think it's glamorous. The titles are fantastic. They look
Oh
great on
yeah.
paper. Yeah, but it's not really a glamorous job. I mean, you're not gonna we're not gonna, we have to remember, the free will, the universal law, the free will is, you can't do nothing unless you have consent. So God will not interfere. Angels will not interfere unless you ask them. Likewise, the demonic and anything else has to also get consent. They're under the same rule, the same law. So people let them in. We conjure them in. We do things. We get involved in stuff. Whatever we're doing, wherever we're involved in.
Familial
We
curses could be part of it too. Not
right.
everybody
Yeah.
invites stuff in, but there can be familiar curses that
Mm-hmm.
something's been following the family line down for generations
And
and generations.
intergenerational bondage, linkage, so. There's all kinds of things, and people don't realize that, and all of a sudden, you've given them consent. All these paranormal teams, they think, oh, I want to go investigate. They don't realize that each and every one of them, and there's many. I mean, there's almost every city in the world has at least one, if not two. They're going into a realm, and they're actually knocking on that spirit, that second heaven, right? At that next realm. And by doing that, they're given consent. And when you're knocking on the door, you don't know who's going to answer. You don't know who you're going to bring home with you. You don't know what you're doing. Or I see these paranormal teams on TV. Touch me here. Oh, go ahead, touch me again. I want to know you're here.
Yeah. The whole come at me, bro. Let's do this. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's consent. That's consent, right? I mean, so I mean, sorry, but you're asking for it, and so, and then they call me up and say, "Oh, I come home, I have an attachment." Why? What did you do? Well, like, so again, if you're gonna, if you're gonna go and do those sorts of things, you need to protect yourself and know exactly what you get yourself into, and understand there's consequences. Yeah,
Yeah. Sister Kia, you mentioned something I wanted to ask you about. What did you mean about the a demon house that you lived in?
Well, one of my homes was, now this is before I was involved with the paranormal. Um, but yeah, I was practicing automatic writing, which is a form of divination. I did it safely, like there was always like a routine to it, and prayers and such. But there was, I think, an incubus, to be honest with you, in the house,
Oh, wow.
because the writing that came through when it was that particular entity, like I could tell by the feel of the pen when it started to use my arm, like the force that was used, and it always said like really misogynistic and really horrible things to say to a woman. And I was primarily getting attacked in my bedroom, um, like frequently, and I've been scratched. I woke up more than once with one foot on the ground and like my butt cheek on the mattress, like almost on the floor, kind of thing. And I had finger bruises all over my legs and my thighs, and that happened more than once. And I've been engulfed by it, and it felt like it slithered up my whole body, and it stopped at my neck, and it felt like it was about 2 feet thick, and like it felt like it had mass. And the person put an EMF detector on me, and it went to solid red, and it stayed there. It didn't go down until I was like, get off me. You have no right to do this, like kind of, until I gave it crap, basically. And that happened a couple of times. But I mean, I have had pictures fly off the walls, the animals being affected, the animal's water dish, that holds a liter and a half of fluid, like of water, knocked over when it was full. Like no cat can do that. Like, sorry, no, they don't have thumbs. um uh, but screens popping out of the window and shooting in and almost hitting the animals, poltergeist activity, disembodied voices, shadow figures, footsteps, cupboards opening and closing. Um, yeah, like, and they were interfering with me. Like they would come through my sleep, and I always, like, a lot of people with gifts will say they have like psychic brain drain after an investigation. And I used to wake up like that every day. Like the energy was just so drained out of me that I would just have a pounding headache because I know it was messing with me at night, kind of thing. And people are like, did you ever set up a camera? And I was like, hell to the no. I did not want to see what was going on when I was asleep. I had no desire to see what was happening. Um, and it was kind of like, you shouldn't, but I did. I kind of made a deal with it that you leave my kid alone because it was scaring my son. He was, I mean, quite a bit younger then, but he had a shadow figure in the corner of his room, and it was all crouched down, and like kind of like, how Spider-Man crouches down before he jumps up.
Hmm.
That's what it was. And my son's never had nightmares. He's never sleepwalked. He's never been one to have, be worried about monsters under the bed. He's not that kind of kid. And he said, and he had a light outside of his window, a street light. So he had light coming into the room. He could definitely see it. And he said, oh, I was going to turn my iPhone light on and see. But then I remembered that you said that don't give them any power and don't be scared, because it's like giving them a cupcake and they're going to come back for more. And so he just rolled over and went like back to sleep, which I thought, I was like, wow, you're a brave little guy, because most adults would be like, bye-bye, going to the nearest Holiday Inn,
Yeah.
and his bedroom window was broken from the inside. Um, I used to get knocking on the second story windows on the outside, scratching in the walls. Like it sounded like Freddy Krueger nails going up and down the metal in the walls. And I didn't have rats or anything like that. Big masses of black that would blot out the light from my bathroom to my bedroom. Um, Apportation. I would take playing cards every day. I was working on my psychometry skills. So I would take them and I'd be like, okay, red, black, red, red, black, black, go through the deck of cards a few times in the morning and at night. And one morning when I woke up, because I did it in bed, almost all my cards were gone. And I searched everywhere in my bedroom. They were not there at all. And it turned out I found them probably 3 months later, and they were downstairs in the family room, shoved under a cushion on the chair. And like that my son didn't take them. Like, I mean, he was just when this happened. And he had the fidget spinners that the kids all used to have,
Yep.
those,
Yep.
you know, I bought him a new one and I said, it's on your dresser. And he said, no, it's not on my dresser. I said, well, go look again. I know I put it right on the corner of your dresser. And when he walked in his room, it was on his floor mat right in the center of it. And it hadn't been there when he came down to see me. And it had been placed there. So it was just crazy, the amount of energy, and even a baseline EMF with everything shut off would be like a +2 in my bedroom. So my bed was like super ornate at the time, and I had 10-foot ceilings upstairs, and the bed probably goes up. I don't know, Plato did the blessing. Plato, how tall would you say that bed is? Probably like 7 feet, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
The
It's hot.
headboard and
The
then the
headboard.
footboard, and then it had stone on the posts. So it
It was
weighed
heavy.
a ton, and that bed shook with me on it for more than 2 minutes. I timed it. And then I looked up to see if there had been any seismic activity in the area that might have caused the bed's vibrations, and there had been no seismic activity noted for like 4 months previous. So nothing else was moving. And it got mad one time and it flung the remote control from one end of my dresser off of it, and it hit the wall and broke apart. Just like really a lot of energy. It had a lot of energy. It was very dark. It was very strong. And I basically would to me, it's like a bully. Do you know what I'm saying? And I
Mm-hmm.
don't like to be bullied. Like when I was a kid, I got picked on mercilessly, and it was the same kind of feeling. And I'm just like, you jerk face, like you're not going to push my kid around, and you're not going to push me around, and you think you're so scary. And then I would sage the whole house. Like I would just like hot box it. Like you couldn't even see in my bedroom. It was just like I'd take the smoke detector down, and the salt that was everywhere in my house. I had hardwood floors, so you could see there was always salt everywhere.
Well, that is an incredibly active home. How long
Yes.
did you have to deal with that?
Couple of years.
Wow. Wow. What finally ended it?
I told her to sell it.
Oh, that that'll end it. Thankfully, it did not follow you beyond
No,
the
no,
the
I no,
walls.
I went through the house. I blessed it and everything, and and
Okay.
then obviously it was then it was time for her to scale down anyway. So it was a big home. It was a beautiful home, but I mean, I went in the home and said, oh my goodness, like, I can feel stuff. So I said, it was time. It was time to leave. And it was time to leave just not because of that, because she just there were some things going on in her life, and she just needed to scale down and whatnot. So it was being a single mom and whatnot, it was time to make those moves. So and so yeah, so I blessed home and never went back. But you know, I was into that. But now she's in her new place, and like I said, she's a crap magnet. I mean, it just even I think even the movers said,
Oh yeah,
know.
when the
Yeah.
movers were moving me out of my old house, I was at the new house waiting for them. And the one guy, like that's what I was still a witch, and I had like fragile crystals, altar, like so I would know where to put stuff. And he happened to be a witch, and he was like, so he started talking to me. He goes, lady, there's something in that house. He goes, I keep seeing shadow figures. He was working with a gentleman that had very dark skin,
Mhm.
and he's like, I thought it was so and so at first, and then I turned around, it wasn't. It was a shadow figure, and he was listing off places that stuff was happening to him in the house, and I was just like, yep, that'd be that house.
Yeah.
Oh
uh,
no.
but I mean, even here, like, I'll get bangs on the wall, I get footsteps. um like my son is an empath, so between the two of us, there's like, I was told that there's usually at least 15 spirits at any given time
Yeah.
to get in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the
It's
house is
all.
pretty well sealed, all things considered, but sometimes stuff gets by and stuff gets in. And then if it's not harmful, I just let them go and I just say, like, get out of my house. You weren't invited. You're being rude, that kind of thing. And it usually works. And then if it's something nastier, like my son got scratched not that long ago, and I was like, all right, now Mama Bear is like gonna take care of business.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, and he knows enough that he can help me do a house blessing now too, right? I don't have to try and juggle the salt and the oil and the prayers, and he goes through the house with me when it happens. So, because anytime, like when we did the blessing at the Warren's Occult Museum, the last time, um, I came home and one of my salt lamps that is about 10 inches high, it weighs a ton. It was moved to the other end of the island in my kitchen, and it was unplugged, and the bulb was black, and it couldn't have
Ooh.
slid because there was crap on the counter, and all the pictures on the wall were crooked. And my son texted me and he's like, "Are you home?" And I'm like, "I'm 8 hours away." And he's like, "There's something walking around up on the ceramic tile. I can hear it." And it jiggled my doorknob. And so he just like he takes a blessed crucifix with him basically wherever he goes, like because he works in the basement a lot, so he's got that. I said, hang your rosary on the doorknob and do this, do that, do the other thing. But so this time when we go to do a blessing at the museum, I'm going to be even more diligent
Yeah. Right.
than
We'd be ready.
even before. So
Yeah. Last time we went, we weren't expecting to do a blessing. I was going there for a meeting, but he asked me to do it, so I wasn't really prepared. But we did it anyway. But this time, like I know that I'm specifically going down prior to the Paracon to do the blessing. Then there's a VIP the next day, and then we're going to be doing a lot of preparatory blessings and preparations this time around.
Yeah, and
So
that's
yeah,
the
yeah.
Secrets of the Supernatural convention that you're going to, and you're going to do the blessing
seekers of
beforehand.
yeah, seekers of the
Yeah.
paranormal.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, Secrets of the Paranormal. Okay, and then you're going to do the occult museum blessing.
Right.
Yeah.
Is
And then
Annabelle still there?
oh
Hmm.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, and they're
Okay.
gonna move her. They're gonna move her over to the casino where the event's going to be held, and they've got her under sort of still in the box and whatnot, plus various other um, demonic objects. The Satan doll and whatnot, and the voodoo doll and a few other things. So yeah, so we'll probably end up helping to move some of those objects over, and then I'll be there to help bless people and give them whatever they need, support. You know.
Okay, and then you guys are attending the Mid Michigan Paracon, is that right?
That's right. That's in
That's
yes.
oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome,
we're gonna
awesome.
be we'll be speaking at that one too. So
Ooh, I got a lot of listeners that go to these paracons, these conventions. Anybody listening, you want to go see Sister Keeyah and Father Plato. They're going to speak at the Mid Michigan Paracon. That's a big one too, you guys. That's a really big one.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
we're much funnier in person because like we literally relentlessly tease each other, and he will show you how he walks into a haunted house like behind me,
Yeah.
crouched over with me going
Oh, it's just
first.
yeah.
know?
Yeah. Well.
But we like to have our talks be interesting and informative, but we don't want people to feel like they're watching paint dry too, right? And
Yeah,
we're not there to try and convert anyone. We're not like Bible thumping or anything like that. We're just trying to provide some education to people about what they're dealing with on a spiritual level, a lot of
yeah,
the time.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, I want people to see that that there's an openness and acceptance of the gifts that are out there that people have, and we want them to make sure they actually have those gifts cultivated, and then some people need to just a little bit of tweaking about some, they're like for example, someone came to me and said, "Oh, I was taught Reiki and I was told not to ground myself." Well, I'm not a Reiki master by any means, but I know you need to ground yourself. So I told her, I said, no, you need to ground yourself. So sometimes a lot of people have a lot of misinformation, and I just think this is a great opportunity to not just talk about it, but they come over and ask a lot of questions, and then we can link up. And again, we
and
do a
he
lot of
does a lot of
videos.
blessings for people. He'll do blessings. He'll say, like, I'm sick, or can you bless this rosary for me? Can you do
Yeah,
this? Can you do that?
yeah.
And
So
he'll do that. And especially if people get weirded out by the artifacts from the occult museum. And
Right.
like Father will have a line just about as long as the line to see Annabelle, because people want blessings after they've gone to see it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They really they actually do sense. A lot of them don't realize that. I mean, we're gonna go see Annabelle. I think it's great. It's theatrical. It's all dramatized until they actually get there and realize they don't really feel very good about what they're seeing and how they're feeling about it. So I mean, some of them come to me and say, "Sure, Father, should I really be here? I mean, this thing is really evil." I said, well, you paid the money, you came. I mean, what do you
I
want me to
remember
tell
that person. They
you?
came to our dinner table and they were just like freaking out. They're like, should I leave?
Oh,
Should I
wow.
go? Is it,
So I said, I'll give you a blessing. And then I went up there and I announced, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if anybody wants a blessing before they leave, they don't feel comfortable, let me know. And next, my lineup was longer than Annabelle's. Annabelle was not happy with me that I stole her thunder. So I'm thinking, oh my God, like I could not believe the number of people that actually felt, I really don't want to go home because there's a story behind Annabelle and that she has caused a lot of damage and people have died and there's a lot of history there. So when
and the
they
other
when they start
artifacts too that
as well,
Tony's
yeah,
going to be bringing. I mean, it's not like your average run of the mill museum. So, you know, people do kind of get weirded out seeing stuff that they've seen in the Conjuring movies, but now it's real. Like the dino, like I have a picture of the little dinosaur, and I'm like looking at it, but that was part of I think the Conjuring 3,
three,
and
yeah. A
and
lot, a lot of people, they think, well, this is great. I get to see the objects from the movie, the props and whatnot, and they don't realize that, like in real person, these are really real objects that were used for demonic purposes or for whatever rituals or whatnot, and then they get a little spooked out by it. They say, well, should I really be here? Well, you just
well, the
spent, I don't
bone
know,
doll is pretty terrifying.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
It's made of like human teeth and fingers and feathers, and it's all in black, and it's a pretty scary looking thing. Like I posted a picture, and my girlfriend's a medium. She's like, oh my God, you have to take that picture down. I can't even deal with it. It's just too bad.
Oh,
Like she's
no.
just like, she's like, stay away from it. And I'm like, no, I'll be winging it with salt.
yeah. But they were used for satanic purposes, or for demonic purpose, or for some evil purpose, and so these objects are real. And the notion for Ed and Lorraine Warren was not to destroy the objects, but to keep them encased and locked up so that they can't escape and hurt other people. To kind of keep it in prison, but these things are really they're real, and they're very dangerous. So when people start realizing that, then they start looking for that. Well, how can I protect myself? Then they start looking towards us for those kinds of things. That's why we're there. That's where we're going to be there for that.
And a lot of stuff in the movies like it's just dramatized, right? Like they're based on real stories, but the original Annabelle movie, probably 25% of it was factual, and then the rest was like, Hollywood liberties kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And that's, same with the other series of Conjuring movies and stuff like that. So that, Tony was saying like, oh, maybe 10% is real in this movie, and that kind of
yeah,
thing. But they're all definitely based in cases that Ed and Lorraine did over their very long and illustrious careers. I mean, Lorraine was quite an elderly lady, and she was still working,
Mm-hmm.
almost to the point when, she passed. And that's one of the biggest regrets I have, is that, like, we joined NESPAR 6 months and 3 days after she passed, and I would have loved to have met her, um, and just asked her for guidance, because she's just so knowledgeable,
Yeah, but it's still very nice to be a part of that legacy, and to be a part of the new generation of people that we're going to carry forward. And they were the pioneers, but now we're going to carry forward. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people into the paranormal back then, and now apparently there's so many people out there involved. And I think we can play an important part in helping people educate and being prepared, and again, utilizing the gifts. That I guess I can't stress enough using the gifts, because I mean, we can't be everywhere, and so there's people out there who have extraordinary gifts that they can help
Yeah.
people as we get through this this impasse of
Oh,
evil
remember when
and negative.
you left me alone in the hotel, and I did a reading by myself before we went to an
So
exorcism? And then I was like, do you guys want to know what I came up with? And Tony's like, when did you talk to this person? I'm like, I didn't talk to this person. Plato's like, no, I went out to get pizza. That's what happens. You come back.
come back, and she's already got it all figured out. We haven't even been there yet. Never seen the house. She's got it all figured out. This, and this. And sure enough, when we went there, that's exactly what how she described it is what we saw. It was actually in New Jersey someplace, and so we'd never been there. And I went to get pizza for some reason. When Keeyah and I travel, we have problems ordering pizza. I don't know what it is about the pizza, but we can't seem to order pizza and actually get one. So I actually physically went out. I'm going to get one, and I drove I don't know how many miles, maybe into the next state to get one.
Oh God.
but yeah, we order pizza. No matter where we are, we seem to have a problem ordering pizza. I don't know what it is about pizza.
And the demons want us to starve to death. So I think last time we gave up and got Chinese.
Yeah.
Somebody's making you work for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
for
God.
Well,
sure.
just my final word on what we were talking
Sure.
about. Yeah, there is a lot of, you got to separate the wheat from the chaff a lot, and
Yeah.
especially now, since this community in the paranormal world is really flooded, like overly so. So there is a lot of fluff, but I'm really proud of, like, your guys' approach. I love your guys' approach. The fact that you're going out to these conventions, I'm so glad that you're able to continue
Mhm.
on, when you had to kind of take a break, going out to these conventions, spreading that good knowledge, like educating people, on their
Mhm.
gifts, or things to be cautious of and in your process. So it's great to hear, and it's great to hear that you are growing, adding people to your
Mhm.
to your group. Yeah, it's just been such an amazing pleasure and privilege to have you both on today. We are near the end of the episode, and I just had a couple of speed round questions to throw at you, and
Sure.
we'll just keep it short. I don't want to take up too much of your time here, but yeah, these are just some random things that occurred to me, and then we'll close it out.
Sure.
So
That'd be great.
Maybe Sister Keeyah, we'll start with you, and we'll just go back and forth. I'll only ask you a couple. So, first question: what's been the biggest transition or change of heart due to your experiences in the paranormal?
I'm 100% a believer now, whereas I was a skeptic before. But I mean, I'm a skeptical believer. Everything that goes bump in the night is not paranormal, and everything paranormal is not demonic, right? Like, I always say that, but it's a very important distinction. But yeah, so.
Okay, all right. Archbishop, what's been
Yeah.
your biggest transition based on your experiences here?
I think I'm just scratching the surface on really what's out there. I think in the spiritual world, the dimensional work, light workers. I'm just with it when I'm starting to actually. I don't just accept people with gifts. I want to know a little bit about it. I don't want to be a master of it. And I'm noticing there's so much out there that I'm realizing that really being an archbishop, taking on the demonic is just a little piece of the spiritual thing that's going on out there. I think there's so much more, and I am just excited about just branching out there and learning it all and just experiencing it. Let people, bring it in, and maybe even improve on my craft, like where I'm able to actually enhance my already existing skills as an archbishop and an exorcist into the next dimension, in the next realm, doing energy work, using crystals, pyramids, whatever. I mean, I'm just open to everything now. I think there's something to everything, and I'm just starting to open my mind and starting to really eliminate the sort of the 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 seminary work and the education and all the things that I learned. That's really kind of like suppressing me to say, well, it's got to be this way, and it's always this and it's that, and it's witchcraft. No, it's like, no, I'm checking it all out. I'm like, so that makes me stronger. That makes me more valuable. That makes me more effective. And I could be up there to really help people. If I can learn more about things and bring more people into the fold, that's where I'm at now. I decided that, what, I'm just a little small piece of the puzzle, and I want the big piece.
Yeah.
All
Love
right.
it.
So,
All right. We'll just do one more question. Yeah. Okay. This one. Sister, be afraid. Be very afraid of what?
Getting involved in something that you don't understand.
mhm.
A lot of people, like Plato will say, when you knock on the devil's door, you never know who's going to answer, right? So I think people need to have more reverence for that. They need to have more respect, more fear about what they're doing, in terms of like giving up their free will, inviting negative energy to, use my energy, like, take this, use my hand, whatever. People should really fear that. You don't know what you're handing yourself over to when you're doing stuff like that. And you can find yourself in a really bad situation, because not all little haunts are like little friendly Casper ghosts, or
Mm.
like little mom and pa hauntings. And I think that people have lost sight of that, and they see it on TV and it's become entertainment, to a lot of people, and they're missing the big picture and of how dangerous it really is. So, I mean, when you're messing with something that you don't really understand or you're not trained to, then yes, you should be very afraid, because you don't know what you're going to end up bringing home or attached to you, or whatever. You can find yourself in a really precarious position and be like calling us, basically.
Okay. Plato?
Yeah, I actually, just to add to what she was saying, because I'm also, I would agree with that. The only thing is, you're given one soul, you're given one and one essence, your soul, protected with everything, like protected, fight for it, protected. Uh, Again, with everything that she just finished saying, don't open yourself up, because you're going to lose that most valuable thing. The most valuable thing that you're given, of all the demonic, all the aliens or whatever you got out there in the whole entire universe, the whole reason why the Satan left, got kicked out of heaven with his 1/3 of the fallen angels, is because they got jealous that God gave us a soul. Uh, the angels don't have that. The demonic don't have that. So that is a gift, because that's a part of God. The God of the Creator gave us a small part of himself, herself, whatever, and that is so valuable. And so my motto is, saving one soul at a time. Mother Teresa of Calcutta, who passed away, obviously, and I was like, hey, Saint, someone had asked her, said, oh my God, Mother Teresa, I can't save them all. She just said, well, then just save one. If you can just save one. So my motto is save one soul at a time. When I became a priest, I asked God, well, I'll be a priest and I'll change and I'll do that transformation. If I can save one soul, I can bring one soul that I saved to the altar of God when I die, that it was worth being a priest. So I'll just say one soul at a time. So, because the soul is the most valuable gift that the Creator has given you, because it's something that no one else has. And that was what caused the devil to leave, got kicked out, the jealousy, the envy, obviously, I think even the aliens are all, they're probably, maybe they're infatuated with our planet, they're infatuated with our essence, because they say, why are these creatures different than the rest of the world? and it's basically we have something that they may not have. So I'll say this to people: be afraid not to lose that gift. That's one. It's a one gift that God has given us, the Creator. Fight for it, protect it, and do all the things that Sister Keeyah just said. As remember, watch your words, watch whatever you're doing, because you may inadvertently give it away or it gets stolen from you. So that's what I have to say.
All right, you guys, where would you like my audience to follow you, find out where you're appearing?
Yeah, well, Facebook, everything's on Facebook. Anything that we're doing, any promotions, any care paracons, any interviews that are coming up, will be on our Facebook pages. And we can reach out on our messenger if anybody has any questions. We do have the YouTube channel that we're just starting to join up on with
Sister Lucy.
Sister Lucy's page. I think it's, but we will give you that. I will give you that link, and Amanda, and you can put it at the bottom. People can log on, subscribe, hit the notification, because we're going to put a lot of videos. I'm going to put regular videos. Sister Keeyah will put a lot of videos. We have a lot of projects that we want to do. So people want to hear some of our more things. If you have any topics you want us to talk about, please add them. But that's where you'll be able to find us: Facebook, Messenger, and on this YouTube channel that we're going to. I'll give to you, Amanda, if you don't mind, giving us a shout out and putting it at the bottom
Absolutely.
of the video, and
Yeah.
they can reach out that way. Yeah,
Oh,
and
okay.
and please subscribe, because we're going to do a lot of work, and so people can have an opportunity to see a lot more of us talk about these sort of topics that are really out there.
All right, wonderful. Yeah, I will share all those links, whatever I can do for you and shout out, I'm happy to do. And to close out the episode, maybe we'll start with you first, Archbishop. Do you have any final thoughts or words of wisdom you'd like to leave with everyone?
The world's not fair. It's not going to be fair. And as soon as you realize that, uh, just remember that we're all part of the family of God. So stay safe, take care of each other, and God bless.
All right, sister.
I usually say to people, don't suck. You know what I mean? Just try and be a better person. you know, like it makes such a difference in vibrational energies and stuff like that. And it doesn't cost anything to be nice or polite, or and we've gotten away from a lot of that, like pleasantries, and just being able to hold a door for somebody, or oh, can I help you with your groceries, or whatever. Just, we need to do better as a species. We just need to do better, and right now we kind of suck. So we got some work to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful, you guys. Thank you so much. Sister Keeyah, Archbishop Plato Angelakis, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having us. Really
Thank you for
appreciate it.
having us.
I hope you all have enjoyed this final conversation, wrapping up our October lineup of guests. My sincerest gratitude to those who agreed to take time out of their busy, spooky season schedules to join or rejoin me to make this the best Halloween yet for the show. I know this time of year for those of us involved in the paranormal is quite busy, so I thank you guys. Please find all of the links to follow along with the adventures of Archbishop Plato and Sister Keeyah below. The direct link to their YouTube is included as well, and it's definitely a must subscribe. Before we close, I just wanted to remind you guys about the upcoming deadline to nominate someone for American Paranormal Magazine's annual Owlie Award. This award will go to someone who has made an outstanding contribution to the field of paranormal research. And if you haven't already voted, don't know who to vote for, take my lead. I've got good taste and a good instinct for these things, so I recommend voting for the host of Fireside Paranormal, Jordan Klein, for this year. He certainly works his butt off to bring you the best paranormal research and new information via his continuous stream of high-caliber guests, experts in the field, and listener stories and experiences. That deadline is midnight on November 1st, and the winner will be announced at 8 p.m. that evening. Send your suggestions for which subject we will be diving into next on Season 5 to paranormgirlpod@gmail.com or message me on the socials @paranormgirlpod. Rate and review the show, my good people. It's important. It's kind of like when you say you don't believe in fairies, and then the fairy dies. But when you clap exuberantly with enthusiasm, it brings them back to life. Yeah, it's like that when you don't rate the show. Except instead of fairies dying, ceilings fall on computers, and I am so sad about it. So clap by rating and reviewing. That's it. That's all. Thank you for listening, and I can't wait to see you back here. It'll be sooner than you think. But even so, stay safe, keep the nightlight on, and sleep with one eye open.